Hey guys, this is Sunsfan and welcome to the official Dotacinema guide to Keeper of the Light. If you aren't familiar with this hero, you may want to watch the introduction we did for him at the corresponding link. Keeper of the Light, otherwise known as KotL, is an intelligence hero with quite a bit of utility. He provides firepower to a lane both offensively and defensively. Skilling KotL is pretty straightforward, but could be tweaked a bit to fit your lane compositions. As Illuminate is your main source of damage in the laning stage, you will want to max this by 7. After this, maxing Chakra Magic second is almost always the best choice since it provides both you and your laning mate with free nukes. In certain circumstances, you can switch the first priority from Illuminate to Chakra Magic. Some instances that would require this would be times in which your laning partner will deal infinitely more damage than you as long as they have mana on a consistent basis. As with most heroes, get your ultimate spirit form at the standard 6, 11, and 16, which of course leaves mana leak for last. Like most supports, you need to buy either the wards or the courier to start the game. Fill out the rest of your inventory with basic regeneration, a couple clarities, and iron branches, which you'll turn into a wand at your earliest convenience. For boots, Tranquil work the best since they are extremely cheap, will provide you a heal, and can be disassembled later if you find yourself with a lot of money. If money isn't an issue for whatever reason, or you're just upgrading later in the game, Boots of Travel are an amazing choice, as pushing lanes is one of your biggest strengths. There are so many great support items that can be picked up, and what you choose to get is really dependent on A, how you're farming, and B, what your teammates are purchasing. One item you and your team should not do without is a mech. We all know what it provides for the team in general, but on the other side of the spectrum, it provides you with a little bit of tankiness, which is nice since you're really old and squishy. If someone else on your team is adamant about purchasing the mech, then do the next best thing in the healing department and get an urn. I know it's not what you want to hear, but every item past this point is considered late game or luxury because you're playing support. If you get to this point earlier than expected, then kudos to you, but I wouldn't expect it all the time. A Force Staff is a great pickup for the team and will provide you good mobility. A pipe is another support item that pretty much every team needs, so if you're the best choice to make it, then do so. After this, situational items such as a Ghost Scepter and Yules can be handy against hard right clickers and channelers respectively, while a Necronomicon is excellent for pushing. And of course, the ultimate item for any support is a Divine Rapier. Just kidding, it's a Scythe of Ice. Your role early on is to harass your opponents with either right clicks or illuminates. Illuminate can be heard from a distance, which you need to be aware of. You can use that to your advantage by forcing your enemies into a specific position, or if you are in a specific position, can surprise them with a large amount of burst damage. And as the game gets later, your Illuminate is one of the best pushing abilities, which of course works even better as an anti-push. I mean, if you're on high ground behind a tier 3 tower, and you can fully channel a level 4 Illuminate, that's an entire wave of creeps dead. There's not a whole lot the opposing team can do, especially when you're using Chakra Magic on yourself over and over. As a result of this, KotL can farm quite well for himself, which can obviously be a bad thing since a lot of times you're the main support. Either way, stacking jungle camp should become common practice, since your Illuminate will decimate them. When you've gotten your ulti at 6, use your Blinding Light in teamfights to put a huge mischance on your opponents. This is a very underrated ability and should not be overlooked. You can also use Recall to coordinate with allies for pushing and defending in order to save them a ton on TP scroll money. This is another minute detail that could make a huge difference in your game. Just remember that the recall will be cancelled if the person you're TPing back takes any player controlled damage. And when it gets to late game, split pushing becomes really easy as long as you have another pusher on your team. Mana Leak is kind of a forgotten skill, but is quite powerful. It works best on preventing non-blink reliant initiations as the opponent is forced to either stand there and put themselves in a bad spot, or just waste all their mana trying to do something. If they do just stand there, you can thank them kindly by channeling a full-length Illuminate to their face. And kinda like how Bloodseeker Rupture works, if you have a Force Staff, you can use it on the enemy you've mana leaked to force them to use some mana. All in all, your job as Keeper of the Light is to support your team in any way you see fit. There are a ton of great combinations with Keeper of the Light. For one, heroes that have spammable spells will love you during the early laning stages. A couple examples of this are Undying with his Decay, and Phantom Lancer with his Spirit Lance. As far as you dealing damage, AoE type compositions that help you land a great Illuminate can work wonders. Examples of this are Void with his Chronosphere, Disruptor with Kinetic Field, and Darkseer with Vacuum. On the list of enemies, silencing is never a friend for intelligence heroes. Examples of this include Bloodseeker, Puck, Drow Ranger, and Doombringer, who counters literally everybody. Anti-Mage is also a great counter since he burns up your mana, and his blink makes your mana leak just about useless. Also be sure to add Nyx Assassin to the list of foes, although they kinda counter each other to some degree. From Nyx's standpoint, popping his spiked carapace, and thus reflecting Illuminate is not too difficult to pull off. Thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Also a big thanks to Flawless and Purge for their help in writing this guide. You can check out their awesome channels in the video description. Also be sure to visit our website at dotacinema.com and visit our Facebook at facebook.com/dotacinema.